We wanted to do this day for my dad, legendary bass player that's played here a million times. I grew up in Baker. And even though it's changed over, it's still the spot that I remember. Real great groups. And I had the pleasure of growing up with a hell of a bass player, and I'm a hell of a bass player myself. What can I say?
In the house.
So, this is an emotional moment for me, and it's been a little stumbling block today, but everything's gonna be good. And we're off and running now. I got some of my dad's good friends, my friends that I grew up with in the band. I called each and every one of them to come down here and help me. Check it out. Rob Lowe, Cephus on keyboards, Greg Cook, Jerome Spearman. Let's get this jazz started. Well, I tell you what, Louis Johnson's gonna come up. Louis, he works with my dad all the time now. We've been working together for a while too. Louis helped me. He's my partner in crime on this. Louis, that might work, man. Don't be scared of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get scared. Should be.
You should. All right, so listen. And I gave all my Wilson stories. Louis is going to get into here. We got Cushion Bear in the back. He's going to come up and do something in a little while. But in about 5 minutes, me and my brothers, we got a special song from my father. And we're going to come up and play that in about 5 minutes, okay? All right, so y'all chill out.
All right, well, welcome everybody. Thanks so much for coming out. How about a big hand for the guest of honor, our buddy Will Austin. I didn't write a speech or anything, but I thought that I would just talk about our relationship and kind of how I met Will and everything that we've kind of been through together over the years. I'm actually from Western Michigan. I'm a saxophone player by training. And in those days, Claude Black, who was a good friend of Will's and a close associate, was living in Grand Rapids. I got to know Claude. I came to Ann Arbor to go to law school, and I had gotten to know a drummer named George Goldsmith quite well. And through George, I met Johnny Griffith. And Johnny and Will and I, and also Pistol Allen, ended up being collaborators for the next 20 years, more or less, until John moved to Las Vegas. The first gig that we kind of had that lasted for quite a while was it was a Holiday Inn in those days in Ann Arbor. And in those days, Will was working auto parts during the day and was coming to Ann Arbor at night. The gig, I think, went from 9 to 1. We did have a room at that place. I was actually living at the Holiday Inn in those days. And Will would come and pretty much play the gig, play the first set, go back to the room, sleep for 15 minutes, come back, play the second set, and repeat the drill. And so that was a lot of fun. And it was really just a great experience, great opportunity, not only to be able to work with Will, but Johnny and Pistol as well. And Johnny and Will and Pistol are a unit that had played behind so many great singers, so many great artists. I do remember in those days, just before that, and seeing Claude and Will and Burt Myrick. Also very honored to have, through Will, gotten to know Alma Smith and Burt Myrick a little bit, worked with them. But I do recall very distinctly seeing Sonny Stitt here with that trio burning up here at Baker's. And so it is really amazing the artists that they got to work with over those years and working with Will. Our good buddy Johnny moved to Las Vegas, as I said, at some point, probably right around 2000. And at that point I started playing piano. And so that's what I do now, for the most part. And though I'd worked a lot with Will over the years, really over the last 5 years, we've worked together more than ever, and I've really gotten to know him and consider him one of my very best friends in the world. And just a couple things about Will that you probably all know. He had lots of opportunities to do all kinds of things in terms of going on the road and playing with famous musicians and so forth. But the one thing and one reason that of all these people that I've known, all these great musicians I've known, I have the utmost respect for Will because he always had a real sense of priorities. And first and foremost, his priority has always been his family. He's made that very clear. So I just want to say to Will's family that, in all the hours and hours that we've spent together, you all should know, and I'm sure you do, how much you mean to him, how you're the center of his life, and in spite of all of his accomplishments and travels and experiences with great musicians, how important his family has been to him and how that kind of is the center of his world, and I have nothing but respect for that. Since I've known Will, I have had my own children, and I feel very privileged also that they've gotten to know Will as well. And so Will has spent a lot of time at our house, late night gigs, stayed over, got to know my kids. I have a son coming up who's a saxophone player. So I had the great privilege of working with Will. We've been very blessed over the last 5 years. 4 out of the last 5 years we've had a steady gig somewhere. First at the Whitney downtown here, and now we're working at a restaurant called the Blue Nile in Ann Arbor. And so we're there pretty much every Saturday. I guess all I can say is, and as I tell most people, Will is really my hero these days as well. He's 81 years young now. He shows up every week, unpacks his stuff, sets it up, and plays his butt off. And it's cliche expression that he's forgotten more music than most people ever know, but it's really true in his case. And I just have to say it's just been a real honor and a privilege to be affiliated with him over the years, especially in recent years. And I thank Tony so much for involving me with this. Congratulations, Will. Thanks for coming, everybody, and let's have a great time.
was generous, gracious, and good. That was my dad, the man, the man, the man, the man.
Thank you, loud. Hey, can we hear it again from Mr. L. Shaw? My brother Billy on guitar, Ricky on piano. Thank y'all.